Hey everybody, welcome back. It's another episode of Jake Talks Star Wars, and today we are talking more about Star Wars Visions. Today we're going to talk about Volume 3, Episode 2, The Song of Four Wings. This is the first original story we see in Volume 3. Episode 1 was a sequel to something from Volume 1. This is an original story for Volume 3, and we are going to be talking spoilers. So, if you have not seen the episode yet, if you have not seen Visions yet, if you have not seen this particular episode yet, stop now, unless you are okay with spoilers. That being said, with our spoiler alert after now, in place, let's go ahead and get started here. So, episode 2, Song of Four Wings is good. I liked it. It was had good music. I loved the music. I loved again, the art style is very anime. It's kind of standard boilerplate anime art style, which is fine. And then you've got this character riding her speeder, like her speeder bike. And I love the design. It has like a sidecar for her R2 unit, right? And her R2 unit is like her portable boombox. And I thought it was funny that she's playing music out of what looks like a cassette, right? She's playing music out of what looks like a cassette from the 80s and 90s. And I just thought that was funny because like my kids, I barely used cassettes. Like I grew up, there was cassettes bopping around in the 90s still, but I grew up with CDs primarily, right? My kids have no idea what the heck a cassette is. You hand them a cassette, they'll never know how to use it. They'll never know what to do with it or anything like that. So I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, she's using her R2 unit to play her music. Her R2 unit is basically like her iPhone, right? Because it plays her music, it answers her calls, it gives her the calls from the Admiral. The Admiral is Amon Kala. He sounds like Admiral Akbar. He looks like Admiral Akbar. He's not named as Admiral Akbar, so he's supposed to be a character in that vein, even if he's not that character, which is interesting, which is cool. And this character, he keeps calling her a princess. Princess this, princess that. And she says, no, not a princess anymore. I don't have a planet. My kingdom is gone. All this stuff. So that's interesting, right? We got an interesting character. They're on this planet. It's like a snowy planet, or at least this region is snowy. At least this region is snowy. At least this region has is very cold. But they're on this planet, kind of doing their thing, and she is searching for Imperials. Right? She's trying to make sure there's no Imperials. She finds a village that's been destroyed, and she's going to investigate because there's a life form. And the Admiral the whole time was like, no, we got to get out of here. If the Empire's destroyed that village, the Empire's here. We got to go. We got to get the heck out of here. And so she doesn't do that, obviously she doesn't do that. And she goes into this village and finds this little guy who's survived the attack. She finds this little guy who's survived the attack, and she's going to rescue him. She encounters a bunch of snow troopers, and from there on out, it's just nonstop action set piece, right? We got a nonstop action set piece for the rest of this episode, and you've got her speeder bike is pretty interesting. She's going up against these walkers. She finds this. She finds this big. It's a sand crawler, right? We always call it a sand crawler, but it's a mining tool, right? And that I love that, and that's what I love about Visions, because they go back into the expanded universe, and they go back into the old lore and everything else. And so you see this object, this vehicle that most Star Wars fans, especially casual Star Wars fans, will go, oh, that's a sandwalker, or that's a sand crawler. And yeah, that's what we call it. But what it was in reality was, in the expanded universe, it was a mining machine, right? It was a machine that was meant to go around the planets and facilitate mining. So here we see the Empire using this machine for its intended purpose as a mining machine. on a snowy planet. So it's not a sand crawler, it's a snow crawler, you know. But again, it's being used for its original purpose, which is super interesting and super cool. I really like that. Because again, this is what Visions can do. Visions can go back into that old stuff, can give us little bits and pieces and snapshots and everything else. And so that's what we're doing. She is like, I gotta take this thing out. This is not good. She figures out that they're mining coaxium on this planet. They're not here for the rebels. They're here for coaxium, which is hyperfuel. If you remember Solo, if you watch Solo, coaxium is hyperfuel. It's very, very important. But she's like, yeah, we got to take this thing out. So she decides to go into this process of taking these things out, but she's got to fight these walkers at the same time. And let me just, the visuals they're able to get away with in Visions is so much fun, because she's riding her speeder, and then these two walkers just like thrust themselves up out of the snow. They just like push themselves out of the snow. They just appear, and it's amazing. It is so cool, because you could never do that in live action. At least you could maybe, but I don't know if you could do it in a way that's convincing, right? When you do it animation, especially this style of animation, you can get away with a lot more. That's really kind of outlandish. And it was so cool, though. And we launch into this fight scene where she's trying to deal with these AT-AT walkers, and the roof of these walkers opens up, and there's all these guns and missile emplacements and everything else just pop out of the roof, and it's insane. And it's so cool. I'm sorry, I'm gushing because it's just so funny. But it's just so much just outlandish amount of stuff, right? It's like a kid drew it. It's like I drew it when I was like 9. I'm like, oh, how incredible would this be? A missile and a blaster and an ion cannon and a this and a that. And so she's trying to deal with this, but she's got a speeder, she's got a speeder bike. And and then the AT-ATs throw seismic charges at her. Those Jango Fett style seismic charges with that great sound effect. They throw like dozens of those at her into the snow, and she's trying to get away, and it's so fun. It's so cool. And they end up defeating the walkers, right? They end up defeating the walkers with a thermal detonator, right? The little guy throws a thermal detonator up into like the neck of the walker with like a slingshot. So real David and Goliath story, right? And then she decides, okay, cool, I got to take this snow crawler out. I got to take this mining operation down. And so her droid then transforms into a portable X-Wing that she can wear on her back like a backpack, which, again, if you watched my trailer reaction like a month ago, that is something I was really skeptical of. I was really skeptical of it. I said, that doesn't look like Star Wars to me. I'm not sure that belongs in Star Wars. And, guys, it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to be wrong. Maybe it wouldn't belong in canon. But man, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun in Visions. I'll say that. So she has this suit that she wears. She's flying around. She's got the little guy that she rescued in like a papoose, like a baby carrier on her chest, and she's flying this portable X-Wing, and her cannons don't work though, right? Her cannons don't work. They're broken, and you gotta love the animation, right? You gotta love the animation, because she's like, oh no, my cannons don't work. What's going on? And it cuts to the problem in the internals. And the problem in the internals is the plug is not plugged into the outlet. There's like what looks like a plug, like a real world electrical plug and a real world outlet. They're not plugged in. Right? That's the issue. That's why the cannons aren't working. And so she's trying to figure out what's going on, but she can't reach it. It's in the internal mechanisms. And so we learn that the little guy she's carrying around has the Force, right? And he kind of concentrates, and he uses the Force to fix the cannons. And once the cannons are fixed, they are able to destroy the mining operation and save the planet. So that's how it ends, right? We destroy the mining operation, we save the planet, and then we see the princess, her droid, and her little guy, her little friend, escaping in her starship. Now, I was getting excited watching this episode because at the end, they're in the starship, and the cockpit of the starship looks a lot like the Millennium Falcon. And I said, man, it's going to be so cool if they're flying a Millennium Falcon type ship. I'm going to love it. And they're not flying a Millennium Falcon type ship. What they are flying is a YT 2400 freighter, not unlike the Outrider not unlike Dash Rendar's Outrider. So that's pretty cool too, right? I'm a big fan of Shadows of the Empire. I loved the Outrider, and to see an Outrider shaped object show up in Star Wars Visions is a lot of fun, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So lots of fun stuff in this episode. Nothing earth-shattering in this episode, like story-wise, right? It's not like this story is gonna touch my heart and make me feel feelings, but it's just so stinking fun. I mean, the action is just so stinking fun, and the way everything kind of is carried out is so fun. So it's definitely worth checking out. Episode 2, Song of Four Wings, has my seal of approval. We get a little bit of everything. We get some Force users, we get some rebellion, we get some AT-ATs and some action and seismic charges and everything else you could possibly want. And boy howdy, is it a fun time. So check it out if you haven't already. Let me know what you think. What did you think of this episode? Did you enjoy this episode? Was this a fun episode for you? Let me know in the comments below. You can hit me up on Threads or on Instagram as well and let me know what you think of this episode. And stay tuned. I am going to be continuing my reviews of Visions over the next few days. So stay tuned. Thanks again for coming by, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Remember, take care of each other out there. And as always, may the Force be with you. Bye-bye.